Hear me, dear one, the moving finger writes, and having writ, moves on. All your piety nor wit, nor all your tears, wash out a word of it. Ah, nor all your piety nor wit shall dare it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. And listen to the wisdom of the elders, whether it's ancient wisdom or whether it's supposedly old wives' tales. It's lasted a long time for probably a very good reason. It's a help, a blessing. So you try and track down what that blessing is, the essence of it, the reason for the wisdom, for the saying, for the epic stories that last through the civilization. Don't dismiss what comes to us from the past. We have an arrogance of learning that is not learning at all. It's the foolishness of the wise, of thinking there comes a time. In the Hebrew notion, for the boys it was 12, for the girls I think it was 13. And my girl's coming up to 13. And, well, it's the sort of a bar mitzvah for her. But it's a significant time because astonishingly they start to enter into being an adult. It's a dramatic change. Something the parent doesn't really anticipate, I think. Well, unless the culture does. And all the noise of childhood and the interaction, it's as if it becomes a silence. Do you remember that? Hello darkness, my old friend, I've come to be with you again. And in it is the phrase, the sound of silence. It's a cutting off time. And I'm astonished that my two sons, neither of them cut off. I think it was because I was already treating them as my good friends. I'm told, was told by what I took to be very good advice, that girls that lose their dad tend to go off the rails in teenage years. And it was imperative that I stay in my daughter's life, to be there. A sort of bedrock security, a relationship with Dad. I think it was Bernardo's that was advising me. Some just experienced ladies who purpose to be a blessing to me and to my daughter. I took it to heart. I've held to it ever since. No matter what in the disaster of the breach of relationship in the marriage, I stayed and continued to stay in my daughter's life. It's not that I'm a heavy advisor or authority or anything like that. I'm just always there for her. Always. That's my intention, and by the grace of God, my delivery. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. I think it's the case that if you're an authoritarian parent, the kids will break with you as they become adults. But if you are a loving friend, well, the relationship will always be there. By the grace of God. You see, he's a Heavenly Dad. Oh goodness, I was suffering last night from a philosophy type meeting. I think there were 16 of us in the room again. Perhaps 17. And my friend of some 10 years or so now, on the way home, gave me a short discourse on how secular he trusted that he was. That all this religion stuff was complete nonsense. He agreed with a chap, you might have heard of him, called Dawkins, who is pretty basic in his alienation. In his mind to anything that's spiritual. A sort of foolish confidence that the man of the world has. For without God, we are just the dust of the earth, from dust to dust. Wow. That's all the life will be for my friend, but for the grace of God that he doesn't own. It's a mystery to me for his life. In a sense, has been desperate. Endless breach of relationships. Yeah. And yet he doesn't see his paramount need for a relationship with God. The secular world's obsessed with you can't prove anything, and in particular you can't prove the existence of God. They completely miss the point. that living according to the goodness of God in your life, His presence, is everything to happiness and fullness of life, life eternal. They can't prove it before they believe, so they don't believe. And they hold tenaciously to this principle of life, which is a living death. And the strength of such belief in the absence of God starves them of the vitality of joy and peace and hope and love, life itself. It's a freedom that's to choose. Why would you not want to know God, who by definition is the personification of everything you truly value in your heart? It's a self-annihilation to not long for God. It's the tragedy of Western civilization. You might trace it to the Greeks. You might trace it to the ancient Persians. I think you will trace it to a reaction to corrupt religion that was anything but the personification of your values. So you ruthlessly threw it out, and anything associated with it. You lost spirituality. Following intuition, trusting any wisdom at all. I think it's a lack of love. In fact, I feel sure in my being it's a lack of love. For except you receive the kingdom of God as a little child, you cannot enter therein. Oh my God. So you stay as a child forever until you do. Until what seems by chance, but is by the grace of God, you come to know love, deep compassion, because you've come to know sorrow and loss, and your soul cries out with your whole being that you want God to exist, and you choose to assume, to trust, to believe that He does. And you then find a transcendence that you never dreamt of, before. You graduate from this hell of a universe in which you believed there was no God. And it was so normal to you that your blindness seemed to be sight and understanding and wisdom. Awake, for the sun is scattered into flight, the stars before him from the field of night, drives night along with them and strikes the Sultan's turret with a shaft of light. I don't prove God. I find that trusting in his goodness is heaven. And as in the Mary and Martha story, it shall not be taken away from her. I choose to believe. It's a consequence of a loving relationship, whether it be between, in my case, mother and son, or also in my case, male and female. Perhaps it's the great friendship you've had. Perhaps it's a relationship with your kids. But at every turn there's opportunity in relationship for trust and the incredible blessing that flows from that. It's life itself. You don't choose to trust God exists. You're in desperate poverty and don't know it. You say you're successful and rich, but you're in poverty. Blind. Cannot see. A blind man comes to Jesus and you think it's absurd. Jesus says to him, "What do you want of me?" God's sake, man, I'm blind, can't you see? Yes, but it's not the physical that you seek. It's your heart is blind to God. That's your real need. Do you know this? My soul longs for thee. My soul longs for you. Nothing else will do. My soul longs for you. Your experience in the universe of no God, as it seems, is designed purely and simply that you come to long for God. And you will stay here as long as it takes until that be accomplished. I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how will I till it be accomplished? This is every man's destiny, everyone's destiny, every life form. This is its destiny, to come to know God, to have life eternal. It is gained by the contrast here in this world of good and bad, time and change and uncertainty. Choose you this day. whom you will love. If there's no love in your life, then I say to you, choose you this day whom you will serve. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Yes,